Team Racing Series returns to ETV Live on Tuesday nights following the Fast Track Racing Series radio show. After organizing a highly successful team series in 2010, Jerry Wolf is back with some kick butt, take no prisoners, team racing action like you have never seen before. The ETV Live Team Racing Series is sponsored by HD Radio Network live on Tuesday nights from 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't wimp out, dude. Catch the action live at etv-eplay.net.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the ETV Live Team Series. It's been a few weeks since we have been here in the booth covering the action from the ETV Live Team Series, but we are back here tonight on July 21st, ready to take to the racetrack at Michigan International Speedway here tonight. Hello, everybody. My name is Kyle Young, and joining me in the booth tonight is Evan Pasoko. Evan, it's great to be back in the booth with you. It's been a few weeks since we've been here at the racetrack, but it's good to be back, and we're ready to go here for 80 laps at Michigan tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I left on vacation, and by the time I came back, we were on the break, so it's good to be back up here to see the ETV Live Team Series. I've missed a lot, so I'm getting caught back up, and I mean, one of the greatest places really to go race in Michigan. Such a big track, 2 mile long. 80 laps is going to be a great night that we're going to be able to see to get things back kicked off here.
Absolutely, Evan. A lot of great racing in the past has been proven here at Michigan International Speedway, a big 2 mile speedway. These guys will have to deal with a lot of drafting here tonight, so that'll be an interesting factor to have to look at as we progress throughout the night. And it's been quite a while since we have run a race, so we will get you guys caught up on the last race we did. We actually went to Watkins Glen. It was 3 weeks ago. We did not have coverage of that race, unfortunately, but the race still did go on. The Last Lap Motorsports guys, they came out with a victory, 144 points in that race. The Z-Loop Racing Team, second place with 126 points. The RSR Outlaw Trucks team came home third with 115 points. Super Speedway Cup North Union with 98 points was fourth. The Twisty Motorsports team in fifth with 96 points. The Crossed Out Motorsports team had 75 points in sixth. The Midnight Thunder RSR team, seventh place with 66 points. And rounding out the field last week, the Super Speedway Cup South Rebel with 55 points. They struggled a little bit on the road course. Probably a good thing that they're back on an oval so they can get their program back up to par. And speaking of the continued results, we will go to Evan Pasoko with our point standings.
And definitely, and that kind of shook things up a little bit. We do have the Super Speedway Cup North Union sitting on top. They have a total of 596 points. Then it is Last Lap Motorsports, 15 points back, sitting in the second spot. Z-Loop Racing, 76 points off the leader, sitting in third. RSR Outlaw Trucks in fourth place, 90 back. Then Twisty Motorsports sitting fifth, 99 points off. It is Crossed Up Motorsports sitting with 476 team points. They're 120 back of the Super Speedway Cup North Union into lead. Then RSR Midnight Thunder, seventh. They are 164 back and just 1 point behind them. Super Speedway Cup South Rebel, 165 points off, sitting in 8th place off of their counterpart who's sitting up front.
So that is our point standings heading into tonight's event. We're just a few minutes away here from getting ready to kick it off at the Michigan International Speedway. 80 laps that these guys are going to have to be dealing with here tonight. And 80 laps at this track, it is a bit of a lengthy race. With this being a 2 mile speedway, the lap times are fairly long, so the race is a pretty decent time inside these trucks for these guys. It'll be definitely interesting to see how this one plays out. A lot of factors going to be in with this one. Obviously, as we have stated, the draft is a big factor at this racetrack, and you can, depending on how you got your truck set up, you can use pretty much any line that you want, Evan.
Definitely, the track is so wide. I mean, obviously it's a long track. You got 2 miles, but it's very wide, which allows for multiple racing grooves. And it's not like the low line's more dominant, because if you get down there, you might have to let off a little bit less. So, I mean, all these teams may be running the same setup as their teammates, but it's going to be different team to team. And you mentioned you can pretty much run it anywhere. You can try to work that draft. Obviously, a long track, high speeds in these trucks. So you can definitely see that teammate kick in tonight.
Indeed you could, Evan, and before we get set to go racing here tonight, we're going to head it down trackside for the National Anthem to get started for tonight's event.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We are back here getting ready to go green flag racing, but before we do, we're going to go back down trackside for the command to fire engines. On the pole in the number 3 machine, Tony Bowling picks up the pole here tonight at Michigan, and his outside, his teammate in the 1 machine, that is Larry Mulligan.
It's going to be Ray Kingsbury in the number 25 starting in 3rd place, and Larry Scott Jr. is going to start the number 15 in 4th.
Rounding out the top 5 inside row number 3, the number 2 machine of Sean Brown, and to his outside in the number 17 truck starting in 6th place is Frank Lucialia III.
Brandon Chaburko in the 19 and Hunter Bowles in the 18 are going to make up the next row, and they're also teammates with Frank Lucialia, so you got 3 Super Speedway Cup South guys all together.
Rounding out your top 10 inside row number 5, the number 13 machine, that is Jeff Backey Jr., and he's got Joshua Harbison's number 16 truck to the outside of him, starting in the 10th position.
Rod Flagg is in his number 23 truck is going to roll off the grid in 11th place, and Mark Arthur in 12th place.
Field starts to roll off to start their 1-lap pace lap. Continuing on through the grid, the number 27 machine, Jimmy Jones, he lines up 13th, and Nathan Lemoy, a new driver to the series here, the number 26 machine, he rolls off 14th.
Rolling off 15th is the number 28 of Matt Kingsbury, and Terrence Donovan in the number 22 is going to roll off 16th.
Garrett Denton's number 31 truck lines up 17th for tonight's event. Into his outside, Kevin Band in the number 29. He rolls off in 18th.
Matt Bontempi is going to take the number 21 off 19th, and starting 20th is the 14 of Stephen Cox.
Rounding out the field tonight in the 21st spot, all by his lonesome on that final row, the number 30 machine of Mark Galoy. He is starting scratch on tonight's field. 21 trucks are getting ready to take to the 2-mile Michigan International Speedway for 80 laps of competition. We are half a lap away from green flag racing. It should be a good one here tonight, Evan.
Definitely half a lap for going green, and halfway through the season, race 6 at 12. So we're starting to chip our way back to the season. Obviously, we're getting back on with the racing after a little bit of a break, but it should be good. Nice wide racetrack. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Tony Boley and Larry Mulligan, those are two teammates starting on the front row. We'll see how they negotiate this as we work through 3 and 4 to come to get the green flag.
Indeed it will. At Crossed Up Motorsports team, they actually have 3 of their drivers starting in the top 5 here tonight. So it looks like their trucks are definitely set up for this high-banked oval. It should be interesting to see if they can continue their luck throughout the race and finish up front. The pace car has ducked down onto pit road. We know you've been missing the series, and we're back with green flag action. Here we go. Green flag is out, and we are underway at Michigan here for the ETV Live Team Series. A great jump, 420 bowling, but we already have problems and a couple trucks spinning into the outside wall here early on lap number 1.
29, Kevin Van involved, and it looked like it started with a checkup on the bottom, the number 21 truck, I do believe, Matt Bontempi. We saw a checkup there, obviously everyone going at different spots, and he got, it looks like he may have been hit in the rear end after maybe the truck behind him didn't quite see it, and he turned up right into the 29 and the 14, and that was a 3-truck incident. They didn't even make it to the checkered start-finish line before they got involved in that, so tough break real early on.
Yeah, that is a big shame there, Evan. I know it's got to be rough to be taken out this early. That took out a Super Speedway Cup driver, a Midnight Thunder driver, and looks like the other one was a Dark Horse driver. So 3 different teams being affected here. They already have their mulligan driver, as I guess you could say, designated. So it's going to be a long race for those guys to get these things repaired and to see if they can be able to compete throughout the rest of the night.
Yeah, it's really just going to cause a headache. And when you think of it, Matt Bontempi, he's working with our, he's on a team that is leading the points right now. I do believe that Super Speedway Cup North Union, and obviously only 3 trucks get scored, so you don't want to kill a mulligan early, but definitely a tough break. And it's going to be a long night for those guys, as you're not going to really get that thing fixed right away. You got to keep coming down pit road, trying to stay on the lead lap, eventually get it fixed. So they'll fight for it, but it's going to be a long night.
It is definitely going to be a long night for those guys, but on the other side of the spectrum, a great restart for the number 3 truck of Tony Bowling. He was able to pull himself away from the field and move up to the outside line in front of his teammate Larry Mulligan, and it'll be interesting to see what kinds of lines these guys use tonight, especially through their trial. Depending on what kind of a driver you are, you'll either see these guys run up right up against the wall around the entire tri-oval, or they're going to cut the tri-oval, cut it down at the start-finish line, and come back up into turn number 1. A definite strategy move there, and it'll also affect the draft on the trucks around them. So that is one thing to look for here throughout the race on different lines. It's a very wide racetrack, so there's lots of room for racing, lots of room for different lines to try some things out. So it'll be a very interesting thing to watch to see who's going to go where and how they can use that to their advantage.
Definitely, and here's really when teamwork rather can really get involved. And you mentioned such a wide track. There are so many lanes, but this race in specific, this is the BobEarlRacing.com 160 at Michigan. We'll give a quick second to talk about Bob Earl Racing, a simulation racing cockpit designed by championship race car driver Bob Earl. Who better than a real race car driver to design a simulation racing cockpit? After all, he knows what it means to be comfortable in the cockpit. The design features a fully adjustable seat and frame. Additional monitor stand and shifter mount is sold separately. Proud sponsor of the 2013 RSR Full Throttle Cup Series that you can see here on ETV Live tomorrow night. A high quality and affordable virtual racing cockpit priced at just $349 plus shipping. See it at BobEarlRacing.com, and that is the VRC Mark II virtual racing seat. So they are the title sponsor of tonight's race.
One of the very many loyal sponsors we have throughout this ETV Live Team Series. A big shout out to the Bob Earl Racing Seats for their continued support of the ETV Live Team Series here. Looks like these guys are going to have another lap, so we're looking at another 2 laps of pacing before we go green flag here. It doesn't look like anybody pit, which is pretty understandable. They didn't really get a quarter of a lap in, so nothing too worn or too out of use for these guys. So it'll pretty much be an original restart with just a few laps into the books.
And definitely, and I mean, Tony Bowling, Larry Milliken, they're still up front together, and it was interesting to see how that incident actually was caused by a checkup on the inside lane, and that's understandable because Tony Bowling sitting up front there, he controls when the field starts, so he can go either from when the pace car pulls down to the green flag flies, so the people behind him have to anticipate. But I noticed there was more of a checkup on that top line, which involved Larry Mulliken, Larry Scott Jr., and Frank Bucilia III there. They all kind of got grouped up together on that start. That was on the high line. Of course, the incident was a checkup on the bottom line. That was way near the back, but I mean, it was a close call up front too, so it was a pretty sketcy restart, so they're going to try to polish that off. Try to get a little bit more clean as we're about to get green, hopefully next time by.
Been a few weeks since these guys have stepped behind the wheel of their ETV Live Team Series trucks, so obviously it needs a little bit more time to adjust and to get back into that racing feel. Unfortunately, it bit some of our competitors here early tonight. It didn't look like any of the damage was too severe for anybody to not continue on, but it's definitely going to be a struggle for those who did receive damage for the rest of the night.
Yeah, the 21 Matt Von Tempe just left pit road. 14 Stephen Cox, he's sitting down there still getting damage control done to his race truck. So they're going to try to get it fixed, bang on that sheet metal, get that thing fixed up and try to get back out there. But this track, I mean, 2 miles long. Aero's pretty important at this track, especially with the high speeds that these guys are going to be running. But however, the pace car lights are off, so we're looking to take the green flag next time by.
Indeed we are, Evan, and the benefit of this being a 2-mile track is that the field's pacing at about 65 miles an hour around here, and with it being a big track, you can get a lot of damage fixed onto these yellows. You had mentioned Matt Von Tempe exiting pit road. He was exiting as the field was at the start-finish line, so you can really get a lot of damage fixed if the crew is up on their game. These guys are pacing at about 2 minutes a lap under yellow, so 2 minutes worth of damage repair can do a lot for you in the long run.
Yeah, definitely, because they're not going to sit there really and lose a bunch of laps unless the damage is pretty major so they can't get around. They'll come down, and as soon as you see the pace car coming in turn 4, they'll get back out, keep entering, and that's how they stay on the lead lap. And with a big track, I mean, that really makes the job a lot easier for them, especially in comparison to, say, a short track, or even some 1.5 tracks are real tight. But we are getting ready to go green as we work off turn 4.
Indeed we are. The pace car working its way through turn number 4, and we are about ready to go back green flag racing on lap number 5. The Crossed Up Motorsports teammates continue to hold the front row positions as they didn't lose anything off of that original start. We will see if Tony Bowling can get off to as good of a restart as he did the initial start. These guys might know what he's going to try. They bunch up before, green flag comes out, and we are back racing here at the Michigan International Speedway.
Looking through the field, everyone's a lot cleaner this time. No one really beating on each other's bumper. The real closest battle is right up here up front, and that is number 1, Larry Mulliken. He's now going to pull down in front of the 25 of Ray Kingsbury, and that's all battling there for second place as they get sorted out and work down the backstretch.
Down the back straightaway, Kingsbury clears the number 15 of Larry Scott Jr. He solidifies himself into the 3rd place position, and down the back straightaway, that pack of 3 there, they were able to close in on Tony Bowling pretty fast. So already that draft factor coming into play, single file through about the top 5 or 6 here, side-by-side battle with the other Crossed Up Motorsports truck in the top 5 there. That is the number 2 machine, I believe, of Sean Brown, battling it out with Brennan Chaburko and Hunter Bowles, the Super Speedway Cup teammates.
Definitely Brandon Chaburko with his teammate in the number 18 of Hunter Bowles. Whoa, big wiggle for the 2 now. Sean Brown all the way down to the apron, but he goes getting freight train there on the high side. He got passed by 2 trucks. He's going to look to pull up, and he will stay in front of Rod Flagg for the time being. And you mentioned that draft. Well, they caught back up to Tony Bowling. They're running maybe about 3 or 4, 2 or 3 miles an hour faster there on the front stretch, so the draft definitely does help. But so far, things pretty much single filed out. We got some beating and banging back here for 4th.
Larry Scott Jr., Frank Bucilia the 3rd, beating and banging it out for position here, trying to wiggle each other up and get the spot. Look at an aggressive move for right now. Looks like Basilia backing off the bumper now, and he's got a mirror full of his teammate in the number 19 of Brennan Chiburko. Super Speedway Cup South drivers currently running 5th, 6th, and 7th. And as you had mentioned, Evan, the field single filed out pretty quickly. And after that quick caution, these guys know that they need to kind of take it easy, ride it out, see what they got underneath of them, and log some laps. They can't really figure out what's going on if they don't log the laps. So they're single filed out, running pretty smooth so far here. We're on lap number 9, and nothing too severe with racing as Tony Bowling continues to lead. Not a lot of passing going on for right now, but Basilia still looking to get around Larry Scott Jr.
Yeah, definitely. They're almost all just trying to ride in line. You mentioned log laps. Just kind of ride around. I mean, it's 80 laps at a 2-mile track. It's going to be a long race, assuming we don't see a lot of cautions. We had a little bit of break. We're now about to come to take lap 10. Still, Tony Bowling has led every single lap. Larry Mulligan, his teammate, still sitting in second place, and we have Ray Kingsbury sitting in third. Larry Scott Jr. in fourth, and then, of course, Frank Busilia getting a little bit of a bump draft there from his teammate Brandon Chiburko. Busilia looks to the inside in turns number 1 and 2 on the 15 of Larry Scott Jr. He's going to fight hard on the inside. He's going to try to be side-by-side down the back straightaway.
Another interesting characteristic about this racetrack is that you can really get a good run coming up off the corner the higher you go. So that 15 truck had the advantage coming off the turn and was able to develop the run and clear the 17, but that battle is not over yet. Busilia, he really wants that spot. Now he's going to go all the way down to the apron, 3 wide for the 4th position, as now Ray Kingsbury drops back a little bit to join the battle. Looks like Larry Scott Jr. is like, not going to deal with this right now, backs up. He's going to lose a couple spots, but not a lot of time, and now the side-by-side battle continues with Ray Kingsbury and Frank Busilia, the 3rd. Busilia trying to make it happen. Kingsbury washes up, nearly touches the wall. He doesn't, though. Busilia going to get that run. Got the draft help from teammate Brennan Chiburko, and they both go on by. And now the 15 trying to get back by. He does, and the 2 all working their way past Ray Kingsbury. So that slight mistake in turn 2, getting a little too close to the wall, headed back out, is going to cost Ray Kingsbury about 5 spots.
That almost looked like a super speedway there. Someone just got out of line, and then the draft almost just went by, and that 25 is going to lose a handful of spots on that lap. And that was, I mean, a relatively smart move by Larry Scott Jr. that last lap to get out of that 3 wide, because, I mean, the 19 of Brandon Chiburko and 17 Frank Busilia, I've seen them pretty much bump drafting down there all the way on the apron, and you're not really going to be able to enter the corner and make a successful turn on that white line. So they obviously, we're going to have to come up to arc it in there a little bit. So smart move by the 15 to get out of the way for the most part. And we're single file pretty much back until around 10th place. I see a couple teammates there, and this is 23. Rod Flagg is working his way by those. The group 3 teammates up there on the high side. Rod Flagg trying to make something work on the bottom.
Rod Flagg, Super Speedway Cup and North truck trying to work its way around the triplet set of Last Lap Motorsports teammates. He is the Lone Ranger there as these 3 working together. And now Rod Flagg is working on Ray Kingsbury in the 25. So Kingsbury dropped back a ton. He pretty much dropped all the way through this field. And now he falls in line behind the 23. So that'll put the 23 up into the 8th position as he looks to try and close in on the trucks in front of him. Speaking of the trucks in front of him, Larry Scott Jr. losing a spot there to the 2 of Sean Brown. And it looks like the Crosstown Motorsports teammates are in a battle for the lead right here with the Super Speedway Cup South team.
Definitely, that teamwork didn't really work. I mean, Rod Flagg just powered his way by those guys. I mean, who knows, they could be, letting off a little bit, not really trying to tear up their equipment and burn off those tires that they're assuming for a long green flag run. Just sticking together. There's strength in numbers, they say. So watch out for those guys. I don't think they're really off speed. They're just working together buying time right now, and they're sitting pretty much 9th through 11th, I do believe.
Indeed, they are back up front. The Super Speedway Cup South team, they are interfering with the Crosstown Motorsports gang, separating them a little bit. And here comes Frank Busilia, the 3rd for the lead, nearly touching with Tony Bowling's 3. Brandon Chiburko behind the 17, trying to push him into the lead into turn number 1. Busilia couldn't lead the lap, but it looks like he's about to clear in turn number 1. Can't quite do it. That outside line developing the run through the middle of the corner. Bowling going to try and fight off on the top side. His teammates going up there with him, but just too far back to help dramatically. And now the two-truck Tango kind of being in play here down the back straightaway is Brendan Chaburko shoving his teammate, trying to get him to the lead. Great action up front here on lap 15.
Yeah, definitely. That Super Speedway Cup South tandem, so to speak. I mean, they've been pushing for a while, and they're going to go to 1-2. We saw Frank. I mean, he was sitting in 5th not too many laps ago. That really shows you not in much as how much the team is worth, but I mean, you really wouldn't see two guys on different teams helping each other essentially bump draft at Michigan trying to get through. However, right behind them, then we have the 3 teammates of Crossed Up Motorsports: Tony Bowling, Larry Mulliken, and Sean Brown. They are sitting 1 through 3, but Sean Brown now in the 2 is down on the apron on the back straightaway.
Problems for the number 18 of Hunter Bowles. His number 18 machine spins down towards the inside wall on the back straightaway. It looks like he's got some problems in that machine, as it does not look like it is handling correctly. We stay green, however, and now he almost spins it again in turn number 3. He's definitely got some significant damage with that 18 machine. He's fighting the wheel inside that truck, and it looks like it's going to stay green. An innocent spin down to the inside. We continue on. No caution, but definitely some problems for that 18 machine now, as he's looking at some pretty significant damage, I'm going to assume, by looking at look at him fight the wheel in the cockpit.
Yeah, Sean Brown, he was sitting 5th all up there with his teammates. I mentioned somehow he got to the apron. Well, that's what ended up causing that spin for that number 18. I mean, he got loose off turn number 2, and the 18 just got smashed in the right side. I mean, good job for Hunter Bowles not really going head-on into that inside wall. He spun it out, saved it, but his truck obviously does have some issues. But, I mean, he's going to try to keep going out there and hope for a caution. He doesn't want to pit now and lose the lap.
No, he doesn't. Looks like he's got the handle of the truck now, so he's going to try to keep it out there and hope for something else to happen. But looking through the field now, that 23 truck is on a tear. He is moving up through the top 10 and into the top 5 now, as he has moved his number 23 truck into the 4th spot, and he is looking to continue to move his way forward. He's the only Super Speedway Cup North driver in the top 10 right now, but he's looking pretty strong in that number 23 truck.
This time by the stripe, his lap time was actually 2/10 slower than the leader, but the lap before that, 4/10 quicker. And you can see, watching, he's sucking up to the back bumper of that 3 Tony Bowling, trying to get a little bit of draft. He's going to not go in behind him, try to get that run off the top side of the corner, and now looking up in front of him, battle for the lead. Oh, it's getting real tight. 3 wide into turn number 3. Tony Bowling on the bottom. Brendan Chaburko in the middle. Frank Bustilli on the high side is going to get out of that, and he's going to pull back in line and now go on the offense here. And Tony Bowling from 3rd to 1st in one corner. He's going to lead this lap. Oh, almost contact behind him between the teammates. They're hooked up already. Now they're going to bump draft up to Tony Bowling, and there's contact all the way down the front stretch.
It's very crazy to watch these guys fall right back into line with each other. When one goes down to the bottom, that whole group of about 7 or 8 trucks, they all fly down to the bottom to try to keep that draft. It shows how important that draft is here at Michigan. These trucks staying very, very close. They're all separated, this pack of 8, all separated by 7/10. And now Brendan Chaburko dives to the inside into turn number 3. He wants to take the lead back, and he's got the advantage now. Middle of the turn, however, Tony Bowling on the outside going to try to power on by. The draft help is with Brendan Chaburko. Bowling going to try to use that side draft to help, but he's got the number 27 of Jimmy Jones, the first truck back behind him on the outside line, but the tighter draft on the inside is in the favor of Brendan Chaburko.
Yeah, Tony Bowling just really didn't have the bump draft. Kind of funny to say. But, I mean, great pair right now. Brendan Chaburko, Frank Bustilli. They're working real good together, almost essentially getting hooked up on the front straightaway to help each other push into turn number 1 and get that little bit of extra speed. However, Tony Bowling is not giving up. He got that little bit of a run off the high side of turn 2. We're now in turn number 3. He's still fighting back, trying to hold on, but he's going to go way up the racetrack, trying to find any grip that he can, searching for the speed. But now it will be Chaburko back to the lead, and Bustilli is looking to take over second as well as they bump draft down on the apron.
Losing the battle but not giving up the war. Tony Bowling trying all he can to get back to the front, but it's just not enough with the draft help that he doesn't have. Brendan Chaburko in the lead now, but he's going to try to make the run off the top side. Bowling going to try and squeeze in between those 2 trucks there and try to take the lead back. Bustilli and Chaburko, that tandem is just so strong. even though that outside line's got a killer run coming off the turns, that draft is just nothing that Tony Bowling can do. And Jimmy Jones, number 27, or Matt Kingsbury, excuse me, and the 28, 4th and 5th, they are looking to sneak their Last Lap Motorsports noses up into the mix here and try to contend for the lead as well.
Now you see Jimmy Jones getting to the back bumper of Frank Busili as they work their way into turn number 1. Those are two Last Lap Motorsports teammates, Jimmy Jones and Matt Kingsbury. They're sitting 4th and 5th, and now almost contact off turn 2. Busilia trying to get by Bowling. Chaburko is checked out by 3 truck lengths down the back straightaway, so Busilia is going to try to muscle his way by on the bottom. They're getting real close as they work their way turn number 3, and this is about an 8-truck breakaway up here, all within a second of each other. And then Lathan Lamoth sitting in 9th place is number 26. He's about 4 seconds off, so essentially almost a little bit of a breakaway. Very similar to Super Speedway racing here. It's interesting to see how these guys work this draft, because it is a 2-mile racetrack with so many grooves, and now it is Chaburko and Busilia 1-2.
The Super Speedway Cup South drivers are finally able to make their way around Tony Bowling. He's like, sorry guys, you're going to have to deal with them now. As now these two are going to start drafting and try to work their way away from this 8-truck pack and try to separate themselves and just kind of ride around up front. These two teammates working together up front, definitely making a statement just past the quarter mark here in this race that these two are definitely going to be sticking with each other throughout the entire race, and if you're going to beat them, you're going to have some help, because as we saw, Tony Bowling couldn't get it done, and now he's dropping back to about the 6th spot as Larry Scott Jr. is looking to pass him on the inside as we head into turn 1.
Yeah, Tony Bowling left out to dry, so to speak. I mean, at one point he had all his teammates hanging out with him, and now you mentioned he's dropped back to about 5th or 6th spot. Larry Scott Jr. trying to battle back on the inside. I saw Larry Scott bump drafting essentially with Rod Flag. However, Tony Bowling's going to be able to hang on to that 5th position for now, and his teammate is sitting in 8th place. That's the one of Larry Mulliken. So if they can try to get hooked up, maybe try to work their way back to the front as another 2-car team tandem. But up front we have 2 of those. Chaburko Busilia 1-2 for Super Speedway Cup South, and 2 Last Lap Motorsports drivers sitting 3rd and 4th, being Jimmy Jones and Matt Kingsbury.
Definitely need your teammates to help you out with this one. As we've seen so far, this draft is taking more of an effect than we could have had, and these 2 up front nearly collide and crash now through the middle. The Last Lap Motorsports guys shoot through the middle. They're going to try to take the lead. Jimmy Jones does this anyway, but the 28, Matt Kingsbury, he cannot make it through, and he's stuck behind Busilia. Him and Chaburko nearly make contact. They slide.
Into the wall.
Chaburko's into the outside wall. Down to the inside is the 3 Tony Bowling. Wow, a crazy half a lap right there. And now Chaburko going to fall to the back of this pack, and Frank Busilia without a partner right now.
Yeah, the 19 Chaburko, he must have gotten loose or something. He just got pushed up. Maybe the arrow of having his teammate Busilia on his left rear of turn 2, but 19 just caught the wall, and that was nearly a big mess, and he has now dropped back to about the rear end of this 8-car breakaway. He's sitting in 7th place, and he was just overtaken by Larry Mulliken, so I'm not sure he doesn't have any damage. Maybe that toe may be a little bit out of whack, but he has dropped back significantly, which now leaves his teammate all up there trying to fend for his own, but we're 2 wide still up front, all battling. And Frank Busilia, obviously, no drafting partner now, funny to say. He's going to try to hang on as those Last Lap Motorsports drivers are battling side by side right now for 2nd place. Let's see them try to get hooked up maybe and work their way up front. But now we're going to go 2 wide down the backstretch, pretty much 3 rows deep.
Tony Bowling leading that inside charge on the inside of Matt Kingsbury. He wants that 3rd spot back. The 23 of Rod Flag, he's behind him, pushing him. Larry Scott Jr., Brendan Chaburko, the rest of this pack there with him. Larry Mulliken's number 1, starting to look like he might be dropping off a little bit there. He's about 5 truck lengths off of the rear bumper of the 19 machine. And now we're starting to see some of these trucks kind of fan out differently. Busilia is kind of keeping it up top towards the outside wall, while the rest of the field, they're still going down onto the apron. And I don't know, do you think it's really a benefit using the apron rather than just stopping at the yellow line?
Well, I mean, they're just trying to muscle their way really anywhere they can go, and it's not the harshest of a transition from that banking to the apron, but I mean, it's all about how you want your car to react, because as you come back up onto the banking, the spring's got to settle out. Maybe it's just something you want the car to do as you re-enter the corner. Basilia maybe even trying to get away so that those guys don't draft up to him, but now Jimmy Jones at 27, he's catch back up with that draft, and he might look inside here in turn number 1. Not quite yet, but they're there.
Indeed, they are. They are trying to tackle that 17 truck. Frank Busciaglia, the third. Busciaglia without a teammate right now, but he's still hanging tough and still hanging on to the lead. Tony Bowling looks to the inside, trying to take over the other Last Lap Motorsports team driver and move into second place. Looks like Jimmy Jones is going to back off and just let him have. Not really wanting to fight right now as we're coming to complete lap number 30 of 80 right now. Tony Bowling moves into second underneath the 28 though. The 23 of Rod Flag, they are side by side for the fourth spot. Larry Scott looking on behind that, watching, kind of helping out both drivers. And it looks like the 28 has the advantage as they head into turn 1.
Definitely still in contact. Almost 23 Rod Flag. Now he's going to get the back bumper. Larry Scott is going to turn him. Caution flag is out. And Rod Flag is spinning down the back straightaway. Larry Scott apologizing. Really nothing that he could do. We were talking about that battle, and I think Rod Flag got spooked. I mean, if they didn't make contact, they were inches apart from each other. It looks like they may have made slight contact, and he checked up, not wanting to take them both out, and that really put Larry Scott Jr. in a vulnerable place. Really had nothing to do, got out of the gas, but that just knocked that 23 car around. And that was, I mean, Rod Flag kept it off the wall, so it was fairly minor for what it could have been, but everybody else was in it to keep it straight. But caution will fly here, lap 31.
Yeah, but a very innocent spin there for the 23 as he just slid down to the inside. Lots and lots of room for these guys to recover their trucks, especially coming off the turn as you're still trying to build up speed. You're not at your full miles per hour speed, so it's easier to get the truck slowed down and saved before you make any contact with the inside wall. So 4 fresh tires for that 23 machine is all that it'll really need. Didn't hit anything, shouldn't be really any damage to the rear bumper of that truck from the contact that he had with Larry Scott. They'll put some fresh tires on it and go right back at it again here, and I'd be highly shocked if we saw anybody stay out here under this yellow.
Yeah, I mean, they should be able to come down here within relatively close to what they would have probably planned on doing. You see pretty much all the trucks, if not all of them, single file now. They're going to the bottom. They're going to enter pit road, led by Frank Busciaglia, going down to pit road 55 miles an hour, not a mile per hour more, and not one less. It's going to be interesting to see how things shake out here.
Now it's time for the crews to shine. Their first time here tonight, 32 laps in, and everybody pulling into the pit stall. Should be a 4-tire stop here with the amount of laps that they had to fill the truck up and get it back out onto the track.
The wall.
Problems, though, down to the inside wall. That is the 2 machine of Sean W. Brown. He gets turned into his pit wall. He's going to spin it around. He's going to have to come back down. He's not going to take service. Did some damage to the nose. Frank Busciaglia, those who did take tires and maintenance, he wins the race off of pit road. Looks like the 28 machine is second. Matt Kingsbury and Larry Scott Jr. third. Fourth place, Tony Bowling and Jimmy Jones, top 5 coming out of the pits.
Definitely, that was an interesting incident. I mean, Sean Brown, Ray Kingsbury getting into it on pit road. Obviously, unintentional contact, but, I mean, when you come down on caution and everybody's there all bunched up together, that's just a product of a tight pit road. And the 2 car, Sean Brown, he did go head on into that wall. And, I mean, that can obviously cause some engine damage, and he won't really be able to tell anything about that till he gets going, and he just spun it around, got back out. So we're seeing him up front right now, but he still has not made his pit stop.
Now, the problem that caused that accident was Kingsbury was kind of down towards the inside line, and Kingsbury's pit stall was more forward than Sean Brown's was, so he had to come across the pit road, seeing that he was up near the pit wall, and unfortunately Kingsbury, not really knowing where Brown's pit stall was, and they made contact, and into the inside wall goes that number 2 machine. Under caution here for a little bit more, so it should be fairly a good amount of time for that 2 machine to get it all fixed out. With the speed that we are seeing here, and with how important the draft is, every ounce of damage that you can get fixed to get those fenders straightened back out aerodynamically is going to be so important.
Yeah, definitely. You want that spoiler to be nice and straight, get maximum downforce so you can really run wherever you want on the racetrack so your truck doesn't really get tight, push up the racetrack. Sean Brown saying it's alright, come down pit road. Obviously not too concerned with any major damage, 4 seconds. Just fix that sheet metal up and he'll be good to go.
As he pulls out of the pits, Stephen Cox, his number 14 machine, one of the drivers involved in our first caution back in lap 1. He will get the lucky dog, so he will now move 2 laps down from his 3. A couple quick cautions here, and he'll be back on the lead lap and able to kind of gain some positions as all 21 trucks that started this race are still out on the racetrack. We are on lap 34 of 80, so we're just about there at the halfway point in this event. Lots of exciting racing so far. This caution probably a good thing for some of those front runners. Didn't need a breather after all that hard racing in close corners.
Yeah, I mean they were bumping pretty much the majority of the time, and I kept thinking if this keeps going, they're not really going to be able to do that all race. I mean, you really just can't be picture perfect every lap. Someone by human nature is going to end up just making that little bit of a mistake, and I mean we ended up saying that good job Rod Flag though. I mean kept it off the inside wall, locked it up right away, made it the spin look pretty minor. Everybody else managed to check up around that instant, so everybody good to go. They've come down, made their pit stops, they got their 4 fresh tires and Sunoco fuel packed in that thing, and the lights on the pace car off, so we're getting ready to go back green.
Frank Buciali, the third, going to pick up where he left off on this restart out in front. Matt Kingsbury second, Larry Scott Jr. third, Tony Bowling fourth, and Brennan Chuberko fifth. Chuberko and Buciali, they were looking very strong out front together there. A couple quick moves by Chuberko, and he'll be able to easily make his way up to Buciali, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and works throughout the rest of this event. Actually, it looks like Chuberko's only up 6th. And Jimmy Jones is going to be 5th. Literally Mulligan in the 1 going to be 7th. Rod Flag in the 23 8th. Nathan Lamoth popping into the top 10 for the first time. And Matt Bontempi in the 21. He is 10th place as well. In the top 10 as well. He is 10th place. One of the other trucks involved in that lap 1 accident. Looks like they got that thing beat out pretty good. And he's ready to compete as he will restart 10th place.
And then also you got Brandon Chuberko starting 6th. I mean, Super Speedway Cup South. Then Rod Flag behind him, Super Speedway Cup North. And then behind Rod Flag, Matt Bontempi, Super Speedway Cup North behind them. 22, Terrence Donovan, and 12th, Super Speedway Cup North. So, I mean, you see a big train of Super Speedway Cup. Obviously, North dominating that. So let's see if they can work their way. We didn't really see. I see at one point we only had one Super Speedway Cup North driver in the top 10. Well, they are the points leader, and as we're approaching halfway, all of a sudden they are all together, and they're going to be chipping away, working together. But the pace car is down to pit road. The field is in the hands of Frank Buciali, and the green flag is out.
17 truck gets off to a great restart. He goes to the top side very quickly. Matt Kingsbury has his mirror full of Larry Scott Jr. in the 15. He's trying to make the move to the inside as they head into turn number 1. To the outside in the 3, though. Tony Bowling 3 wide for 3rd. Brennan Chuberko making quick moves already. He moves his way into the 3rd spot. Nope, can't quite clear off the turn. Little wiggle throughout some of these trucks. Down the back straightaway they go. And it looks like the 15 is going to win the battle for 3rd.
Definitely is muscling his way through there, side by side behind him. Tony Bowling again on that top side. 19, Brandon Chuberko working his way by them. Then we also have 23, Rod Flag, who just spun out. He's going down to the inside with help from the 27 of Jimmy Jones. So that 3 again, Tony Bowling got a fast truck, but it doesn't really seem that his preferred line would be the top side, because that seems to where he's losing the majority of his position when he's stuck up there. However, Rod Flag not the best turn, and the 3 is going to hold on for now.
Yeah, Tony Bowling has kind of lost some of his teammates that he was able to start with earlier on, and is making some of these passes and trying to fight off some of the battles a little more difficult than he would want to right now. So struggling to work around. However, they still have 43 laps to go in this race. Still quite a bit of time to work things out. Meanwhile, back up front, though, Matt Kingsbury and Larry Scott Jr. Kingsbury took the lead. Now they're almost 3 wide there for the second place is Brendan Chaburko is making some really darty moves to try to get back up to the field. And Kingsbury sees that side-by-side battle in his rearview mirror, kind of liking it, giving him some room to breathe up front. Busialia touches the wall a little bit. Chaburko moves down to the inside, thinking about making a 3 wide, comes back to the top. Chaburko all over that racetrack, using every inch of the room that he has to try to make his moves.
And the 3, Tony Bolin again, trying to battle back there. Look to the outside. Now in front of him, Larry Scott trying to get clear. The 17, Busilia, nearly both got into the wall. 15 realized he was there. Couldn't quite get clear. Now they are still side by side. This is all going on up front there. Busilia working that high side. Chaburko in the middle there. And then Rod Flag trying to work his way through on the bottom. So real congested up front.
Lots of side-by-side racing action, passing all sorts of movements throughout this racetrack. Frank Busialia now going down to the inside, trying to pass Larry Scott Jr. in the 15, the Dark Horse Racing truck for the second spot. Tony Bowling, Rod Flag get really hard runs heading into the turn, and they close in on the 19 of Brendan Chaburko fairly quickly, side-by-side still for that second spot. Surprised we aren't really seeing that 19 go down to help the 17. Now he moves to the inside, but it's for his own good. The 17 moves down there with him. They use the apron a little bit, trying to move into second and third. Looks like Chaburko's got the advantage heading in. He's going to try and slide up. He does. Risky move there, but the 15 let him have it. Into third goes Brendan Chaburko, and now Frank Busialia, the third, and Brendan Chaburko are lined right up with each other, and it should be interesting to see if they can work their way around Matt Kingsbury for the lead.
They're now also side by side for 6th place. The 23 Rod Flag. Here comes Jimmy Jones in that number 27. He is just taking that 6th spot. Rod Flag can't get it to stick on the top side, so move Jones into 6th. Rod back to 7th place. And that was, it looked like the only side by side battle for the moment, but now that you got some teammates working together up front there, 2nd and 3rd, I don't think that Matt Kingsbury is going to get too comfortable right now.
Probably not. If you learned anything from that last green flag run, it was that those two guys behind him were very, very strong. And down to the inside goes Busialia. Chaburko goes with him. Larry Scott looking to kind of help out as well. Into turn number 3, there goes Frank Busialia and Brendan Chaburko. Busialia going to clear in the middle of the turn. Can he hold it coming off for the lead? Looks like he got maybe a touch sideways there. He's able to still hang on. Chaburko moving into 2nd place. The 28 machine all by his lonesome on the outside, just past halfway now, lap 42 at the line right there. The top 2 Super Speedway Cup South drivers, Frank Busialia and Brendan Chaburko. That didn't take long.
They are just so strong working together, and I mean, it's pretty much they're controlled but on the ragged edge because they're pushing each other, they're slipping and sliding, but they're communicating, they're on the radio with each other, talking, so they know what each other's going to do. There's no real sudden movement. Now you see Kingsbury maybe tried to look to the inside there. That's not going to work. He's going to shoot up to the top, but now Larry Scott Jr. is going to come by a little bit sideways on the bottom. He's going to try to take 3rd spot with the help of Tony Bowling. They are pushing as they work their way off turn number 2, but still Busilia and Chaburko, 1-2. Those guys are just dominant when they're working together. Great teamwork.
Excellent teamwork definitely going on with that 17 and the 19. Those two guys are going to be hard to beat if they are not separated. And I'm sure that these guys are taking notes and they are well aware of that. It's going to be a tough feat to tackle to defeat those
Wreck on the
two.
back straightaway. Sorry to interrupt there. Ray Kingsbury into the wall. I just heard something over the radio. He just got wicked loose off turn 2 on lap 43, and I mean, I do believe it was the 18 truck also had nowhere to go. That's Hunter Bowles, and they went into that very wide back straightaway. It saved them. They still made pretty significant contact with the wall, but they were able to slow down a lot. No caution, as that was out of the racing group. Those are two guys that just had their nights turned upside down.
We've seen it again there, Evan, off at turn number 2. That seems to be the problem area. As these guys come off the baking, their trucks seem to be getting very light and very loose, and that is causing some problems. This isn't the first incident we've had off at turn number 2. A couple trucks have spun already. We've seen, I believe that's the 3rd incident, the second one for the 18, as it has been a rough night for Hunter Bowles. He will turn the thing around, get it back fired up, and we'll go at it again. That's twice now that he's spun off at turn 2 with no caution.
Tough break for them, and with such a wide back straightaway, it's almost a saving grace and a curse at the same time, because when you spin down there, you go way down there, you're off the racing groove, so the ETV Live official is not going to throw that caution. So that's almost some bad luck there, but it's good because you have a lot of time to slow it down so you don't pound that inside wall and destroy your truck. Meanwhile, back up front, Chaburko, Busilia still working together, but Matt Kingsbury, he's not falling back. He is still all over the bumper of that number 19 truck of Brandon Chaburko. He's letting him know that he's still there, so he may try to force an air and work his way by. Obviously, really no match if they continue to work together in 1-2, but he's letting him know that he's there for sure.
Indeed, he is, Evan. Maybe trying to kind of follow him around and see what they're doing up front there. Those two teammates working it out, trying to see if maybe he can't learn something, learn what he's doing wrong, and maybe try to work around those two later on in the race, maybe when he's got some teammates, or to try to do it on his own. But for right now, still sticking behind him as well as everybody else around him. They're all single file, working their way through the laps and getting closer and closer to the end here. They just completed lap 45, so you got 35 laps to go here from Michigan. Great race so far, and it's only going to get better as the laps continue to wind down.
Side by side at the line now. Chaburko going into the lead, and that's because Busilia nearly wrecked it again off turn 2, and the 19-17 became separated. Now it's really stacked up here in the front as they work their way through turns 1 and 2. Chaburko in the lead. Here comes Kingsbury in that 28 trying to battle for second. Oh, Larry Scott Jr. nearly got into that. He turned it all the way to the left to avoid the wreck. He nearly split out. He's going to come back up on the racetrack. Tony Bowling moving past Busilia. So Frank Busilia dropping like a stone in a pond. And that was a pretty crazy lap too.
Very crazy movements down the back straightaway there, getting the order shooken up a little bit, but still clean and green, no caution. The 23 there, Rod probably killed it to the way outside in turn 1, thinking about making it 3 wide there. Unfortunately, did not happen. A truck slides to the inside. That's the 15, Larry Scott Jr. He's going to be able to come back up cleanly though, but Busilia hits the wall again, and he drops back outside of the top 5 now.
He is having a rough couple laps, and that really shows how quick your fortune can change. I mean, 3 laps ago, he's running in first place, just cruising with his teammate. He turn 2. It's been Calamity Corner all night, 2 incidents there. 18's been involved in 2 of them, Hunter Bowles, and Busilia dropping back through the field with some tough luck. Still got a fast truck, though. He's now going to try to work his way back up through the field, looking to the outside of Jimmy Jones. Nearly contact there. He's going to go to the high side in turn 1.
You would think that you might see some of the same issues coming off of turn number 4, but turn number 4 goes into the tri-oval, which is very similar in banking as these turns, so they don't really have that issue off of 4. However, off of turn number 2 goes to the flat backstretch, so that is where things can happen. The truck's getting light when they go from the banking to the flat of the racetrack. So it's been Calamity Corner here tonight for sure. But these guys settle back down. They're now single file again. And now the 27 looking to the inside of the 15 for the 4th position. Busilia got a front row view for that. He's peeking to the inside, thinking about making a 3 wide off of turn number 2. And indeed he does. 3 wide for the 4th position. Looks like Larry Scott has the advantage. Tony Bowling now making a move to the inside just in front of these guys.
And definitely they work their way down the back straightaway. You see some pushing up front. Tony Bowling's gone to the front. Brandon Chaburko pushing him. He's going to dive down to the inside as they work their way into turn number 3 here. Lap 50, 30 to go this time by Chaburko, battling to hang on to his first place position. He's going to make it work on the bottom. Bowling's going to pull back in line. So Chaburko sitting in first. Big wiggle by that 3, and now here comes the 15. Larry Scott Jr. is going to pull in line. That's real tight. And hello, the 17, Busilia is all the way back up the 4th. He's going to shoot to the top side, and he's working his way back to the field.
Crazy racing up front here. Brennan Chaburko currently leading. Tony Bowling, Larry Scott, Frank Busilia, and Matt Kingsbury, the top 5 as of right now. Larry Scott moves to the inside. Busilia trying to pass him on the outside. Actually, that's not a pass for second on the attempt of the 15. Kind of got forced down there, a little loose off of turn number 2, and Busilia attacks. He gets right up next to that door, trying to side draft to get around the outside of that 15 to try to help out. Chaburko staying up top, trying to give some draft help for the 17. To the inside, though, Tony Bowling trying to take the lead, and with the help of Larry Scott Jr., they're trying to make it happen. Can't quite do it, though. Oh, he's able to slide right in front, but now Chaburko going to try a crossover. Can't quite do it. Tony Bowling slides into the lead just in front of Brendan Chaburko. I'm kind of surprised Chaburko didn't kind of give him a little nudge there.
It looked like he might have slid across that rear bumper a little bit, and they get so loose off the corner because when you go into that banking, the truck really sucks down to the track with those G-forces, and when they come up, the shocks release themselves. The truck gets up higher, and that's why it gets so loose. And if you have somebody on your quarter panel there, like we saw Chaburko do, it can get pretty close there. Now he's going to dive to the high side. That's Brandon Chaburko trying to get his first place back. Busilia with a wicked fast truck. He's already back up to 4th place, looking to make his way around Larry Scott Jr. He's got to be careful because that 15 is working on Chaburko, and now 17, Busilia down to the bottom. They're going to be side by side. That's a battle for 3rd, and they're also now side by side for 1st as Chaburko goes to the inside.
Brendan Chaburko clearly does not like not being in the lead and out front. Every time he gets the opportunity, he pounces to try to get the lead, and that's what makes watching Brendan race oh so exciting. As now off a turn 4, nearly 3 wide for 2nd place. Larry Scott trying to get the run on the outside of the 3. He can't quite do it. The 3 pops behind the 17, and now those two South Super Speedway Cup drivers are up in the top 2 of the 15 machine, trying to make it happen on the outside of Rod Flagg, who's trying to get into the 4th spot. Can't quite do it though. The 15 clears him, and now side by side for the 5th spot as Matt Kingsbury is trying to get around Rod Flagg.
Now Rod Flagg got into the wall. We're going to be 3 wide into turn number 1. Larry Mulligan's going to back out of that because Last Lap Motorsports drivers, they're trying to work their way together up back into the top 5, and it's getting pretty close here for 2nd. Frank Busilia is behind his teammate Chaburko, or rather Chaburko's behind Busilia now. They've swapped for 1-2, but the 3, Tony Bowling, sitting in 2nd place. He nearly wiped out Busilia off turn 4 a couple of laps ago, so watch that 17 and 3 to be pretty aggressive. They're going to be side by side. Contact in turn number 2. Busilia is not going to take too kindly to that, but these guys have been beating and banging for a couple laps, so let's keep an eye on them.
Deep, crazy darting moves all throughout the back straightaway that lap. Brendan Chaburko giving you another shot down the backstretch, trying to take the lead into turn number 3. Evan, these guys do really realize that they're on lap 55, not 75, right? These guys are racing very, very hard with 25 laps to go.
And we've seen this pretty much all race, but it's starting to get pretty crazy. Now the 15, Larry Scott Jr. shoving Chaburko on the bottom. Busilia not too happy with Tony Bowling. Well, he's pushing him down in turn number 1. And this has created 2 wide, 3 rows deep. Looks like Chaburko, though, up front with the advantage on Tony Bowling. However, that number 3 truck's going to get that little bit of a run on that top side. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep it green much longer with the way these guys are racing. You mentioned lap 56. And now the caution flag will fly, not related to these guys. We do have a spinner in turn number 1 and 2. It is the number 21 of Matt Von Tempe, and he just spun out on his own.
Tough break for Matt Von Tempe. It looks so promising after getting caught up in that problem in lap number 1. Looks like he was going to be able to rebound very nicely after restarting that last one at 10th. Looks like through the tri-oval he just got up, got stuck into the wall, let the traffic that was underneath of him go by, and he yanked it to get off the wall, lost control, and he spun into the outside wall. Hard impact, head on into that turn 1 wall. The engine let go there, and that is it for that 21 machine tonight. He has dropped the window net and is getting ready to climb out of that machine. Done for the night, and that will effectively put Matt Von Tempe as the out pointer for the Super Speedway Cup North team. So those North drivers now have to really drive to be able to score some good points and keep their points lead after tonight's event.
I was expecting a caution from those guys, literally trying to, I mean, they're just beating the heck out of each other up there in the top 6. But yeah, Von Tempe took a huge impact there at the outside. Well, it looked like he was going to be fine, and I mean, he just overcorrected it. He said it, and they are obviously back in the garage. And now the leaders coming down pit road for the final time tonight, led by Chaburko, Bowling, Busilia, Larry Scott Jr., and Rod Flagg, the top 5 right now. They're going to come down pit road. They're going to be as fast as they can without speeding, and let's see if we can keep it clean this time through. We saw a little bit of an incident last time, and it can be pretty tight down here with all these trucks. But now Busilia, or Chaburko, your leader, into his stall along with his teammate.
Could be the money stop here for these crews, as we've seen quite a bit of green flag racing here tonight. These guys are going to get the restart with just under 20 laps to go, so they might not see another caution flag with the green flag runs that we've been associating ourselves with so far, but with the way that they've been racing, it might happen. But Brandon Chaburko is going to win the race off of pit road and put himself still into the lead. Tony Bowling's number 3 is going to be second, followed by Frank Bucialia the third. He will be lined up right behind his teammate Brandon Chaburko, so that'll be a good move for those Super Speedway Cup South guys. Rod Flagg in 4th coming out of pit road, and Jimmy Jones 5th in his last lap motorsports machine.
And definitely a little bit of an issue, maybe Larry Scott Jr. wrecking under the pace laps just now. He just spun it out in turns 1 and 2, I do believe, and he had a really bad pit stop. He lost a whole whack of positions, and he just wrecked under caution here in turns 1 and 2. He's got it straightened out, but wow, what a turn of events there. Under caution, he went from 4th, and now he's going to be to the rear of the lead lap.
Looked like the low speed there on the bottom of the racetrack, where there's not as much banking, kind of just sent him through a loop there. A quick little mistake, didn't do any damage, but definitely put a little bit of excess heat into those tires that he just got. So a little unfortunate event there for Larry Scott. Going to lose quite a few positions, as now since he's in the back, he's going to come down pit road, get some fresh tires, and not have to worry about that. Well, Ray Kingsbury right now in the 25 looks like he stayed out. He's your current leader.
Definitely. So this is, again, I do believe about our 3rd or 4th caution of the night, and it comes relatively late. We're just a handful of laps have taken 20 to go, and when I mean, it's a long way around this track, but with the action that we've been seeing, the time flies at this point. And now Stephen Cox again, he's going to be the lucky dog he was last time we saw him. He was involved in that first incident, lost 3 laps there in that wreck that happened right at the green flag start of the race. He went 3 laps down. He's going to get another one back, so he's going to be 1 lap down now, trying to fight his way back to the lead lap.
Stephen Cox is going to take the position from Matt Bontempi, so he'll move up out of the last spot. So if he gets another quick yellow here, then he might be able to start fighting for some positions. So he's probably hoping for another quick yellow here. It'll be interesting to see if he can kind of move his way through the field. And but it doesn't look like Ray Kingsbury is thinking about hitting here. He's still staying out. He's got some heavy rear end damage though, so he might want to think about that.
Well, he's trying to hang on to that lead position, and I mean, with 20 laps to go, he's not really going to be able to make his way back to the front probably, so he's going to be hanging on. He says that he was expecting a black flag possibly to go back to go down pit road, because he did not come down pit road when the field did initially, and then he came, so he's been out this whole time.
Very interesting move, as now the field has gotten the 1 to go, so he'll have to stay out there and lose a lot of time if he does decide to end up coming down pit road. So he will lead these guys back to green when we get the restart. 20 laps to go, a quarter of the race left when we go green flag racing. And Ray Kingsbury is going to lead them. Brendan Chaburko 2nd, Tony Bowling 3rd, Frank Bucialia the 3rd, and 4th Rod Flagg 5th, with Jimmy Jones, Larry Mulligan, Nathan Lamoth, Sean Brown, and Garrett Denton in the top 10. A couple guys moving into the top 10 for the first time tonight. Be interesting to see if they can keep with these lead trucks and try to fight it out and sneak in there, maybe into victory lane, or to get a really good top 5 finish.
Definitely. Well, the field is doubled up. The lights on the pace car are off, and they are working their way down that 5-degree bank back straightaway. The turns at Michigan here, 18 degrees. Relatively minor for some tracks that we do go to in this series. And then we also have 12 degrees at the start-finish line, so these drivers are not flat until they get down to pit road, but they are now working their way through turn 3, about to get to turn number 4, and Ray Kingsbury is going to try to take that battered race truck, see how this turns out.
It'll be interesting to see if that rear end damage to that spoiler is going to affect his aerodynamic flow, and how well he'll be able to stay up front, and how long he will be able to stay up front. So we got 20 laps to go here off of the restart. Pace car ducking down onto pit road now. green flag about to fly. Ray Kingsbury leading them down, 20 laps to go. We've seen some strong racing so far. It's going to get even crazier here in this final bit. Green flag is out. Brendan Chaburko is able to hang right with the 25 at Kingsbury. He actually takes the lead from him at the line. Busiali going to push him right on by on the outside. Busiali going to try and take it. Now Chaburko drops down to the inside and leaves Busiali all by himself. Tony Bowling stuck behind the 25. He's looking to the inside a little bit to try to make something happen. And Jimmy Jones is going to try to work around the outside of the number 3 truck. And look at these guys fan out down the back straightaway.
Well, that 3, Tony Bowling, is stuck because that 25 of Ray Kingsbury's truck definitely not 100%. He's battling, trying to find a way around him. He's going to dive to the inside off turn number 4. 3 wide as Rod Flagg makes the pass on the top side. So tough break for Tony Bowling. He essentially got stranded there behind that 25. And 25, Kingsbury, he's definitely going to start dropping to the back because that truck not 100%. So while that all shook out, the dominant duo of the night, Chaburko Basilia, sitting right now 1-2.
Truck into the outside wall there. Looks like it was the 25. He's going to drop back to lose some more spots. So some more damage on that thing. That truck just not handling the way it wants to for Ray. Maybe staying out was not the best idea, as now he's losing a ton of spots. And he's actually going to get hit by the 15. He washes up. He hits the wall. And he's coming back down the track. He's able to save it. But it looks like he's got some heavy damage. That car is coming down to a slow. Actually, now he's picking it up. But a very, very scary moment there for that number 25. Still straight, though, clean and green. And he will just lose a lot of time. A tough, tough break for that 25. Rough night for that last lap motorsports entry.
Yeah, I mean, that 25 just did not have the speed. He could not, he couldn't really do anything with that damage that he had, and almost really just an obstacle for the other truck. So he has now found his way to the back of the field after nearly spinning and bringing out another caution. However, back up front, Chaburko Busilia, they're still working together. They've actually, quote-unquote, made a little bit of a swap. But here comes on the bottom, 27, Jimmy Jones. Oh, the 3, Tony Bowling gave him that extra shot in the corner. That nearly split him out. That's going to stall out the inside line. Chaburko's going to get clear for second. Rod Flagg's going to get clear for third. And now the 1 car, Larry Mulligan's going to go by on the high side. And again, number 3, Tony Bowling, nowhere to go. He's going to get stranded. Now he's going to dive down to the bottom. Think better of it. So he's getting pretty close down here as he nearly comes up to the 28 as well.
These guys definitely picking up the pace like we had anticipated. I mean, they are throwing it all out on the table, but they still got 16 laps to go, so still quite a bit of racing, just under 30 miles left in this race. So they got to find a way to keep their composure a little bit, because 16 laps here is still quite a bit of a distance, and every lap matters in this one, as we can see with how quickly things can change with the draft. It's not over until it is over, and anything can happen. This is really, really like a super speedway race.
It definitely is, and I mean, Super Speedway Cup South, they're sitting in the end of the points. Well, they're sitting 1-2 right now. Here comes Rod Flagg in that 23 as the 19 Spricko goes to the bottom. Rod Flagg going to try to make something work here on the high side with help of the 1 of Larry Mulligan. That's about our 4 truck. A little bit of a breakaway from the rest of the field. They are 1 through 4th place. Obviously, Rod Flagg trying to make it work on the top side. His truck not too strong up there all night. Not going to be able to get it done quite yet. And now the 1, Larry Mulligan, with a huge run off turn number 2. He's going to dive it down 3 wide into turn number 3. He's going to try to make that stick on the bottom. Now Chaburko is going to clear Rod Flagg, and they're door-to-door for second.
Larry Mulligan has not done much since the start of the race, where he started inside the top 5, but now he is coming back and he is ready to compete and challenge for this win, as he separates the lead trucks of the 19 and the 17, but the yellow flag is out on lap 67. Problems out on the racetrack, and we are under yellow for the 4th time here tonight.
Definitely the 18 again, Hunter Bowles, 3rd incident. I mean, when it's not your night, I guess it's just not your night, but that is another incident that truck has been caught up in. And I'm trying to look at what caused this incident. Obviously, it was on lap 66, and they were 3 wide going into turn number 3. The number 15 was in there. That is Larry Scott Jr. 31 in the middle, being Garrett Denton in the 26. Nathan Lamoth on the outside, and they were 3 wide going into turn number 3, not really giving each other a lot of room. They had to make that arc in, and when they went down into the corner, 15, I do believe, being Larry Scott Jr., pushed up the slightest bit, and that just sent the 31 right into the 26. 26, the rookie Nathan Lamoth goes on his side, rides the safer barrier, and then 2 more trucks got involved after the incident, coming off 4. The 30, Mark Gloy got involved, and then the 18 again, his 3rd incident of the night. Just another innocent bystander of that incident.
Tough break, a hard wreck for that 26 on Nathan Lamoth. It looked like he was going to have a strong finish here as he popped in the top 10 a couple times tonight and was able to restart there, but unfortunately it's all going to come to an end right there. His truck getting up onto its side and riding on top of the safer barrier. He was able to bring it back down to pit road, so fortunately it seems like with him being able to drive it back that he is okay. But that'll probably do it for that 26 car, and it will put the 14 of Stephen Cox back on the lead lap.
Definitely is going to get his 3rd lucky dog and back to the lead lap. Matt Bontempi 11 laps out. He is in the garage. Nathan Lamoth to the garage. He was involved in that incident. Mark Gloy in that 30 car, crab walking it around the track here under caution down pit road. Somehow not spinning that thing out. That thing is way out of whack. And then Ray Kingsbury with that damage. He's going to be able to get that fixed here. Well, the top 3 trucks have stayed out. Frank Busilia, Jimmy Jones, and Larry Mulligan actually came down pit road. He was sitting 3rd place, but Hunter Bowles stayed out. So Busilia, Jones, Bowles, 1, 2, 3 right now. Everybody else is going to get some new tires.
I cannot believe Frank Busilia III stayed out and did not come down pit road. Wow. He's going to keep it out there, hope that his stuff is good underneath that truck, and try to fight it out while the rest of the field behind him, excluding Jimmy Jones, is going to have fresh stuff. So that is going to be very, very interesting to see if he's going to be able to hang on and be able to work with Brendan Chaburko as effectively as he has been, as Chaburko is now on new stuff.
It'll be interesting to see how it works. I mean, we saw Ray Kingsbury with a damaged truck drop through the field, so will we see the same thing with Busilia dropping through? If he's got those old tires, he's not going to be able to control it as easily as he wants, and as the laps tick down, I mean, come by this time to get 11 laps to go. The light's still on the pace car, so we got a couple more laps of pacing to do. So it's going to get pretty interesting. I mean, Brandon Chaburko was up there, and I mean, he came down pit road, and he's still sitting 4th place with fresh tires.
It's got to be interesting to see how this all plays out as they come by now under yellow to complete lap 69. Should be about 9 or 10 laps when they go green. Looking at the pace car lights, they are still on, so they're going to go around again. Should be about 9 laps to go when we go back green flag racing. ETV Live Team Series officials have just given the lucky dog to Stephen Cox. He will be back on the lead lap. He's going to be starting fairly far back, but it'll be interesting to see if he can pop himself out of those lower positions, try to salvage a decent finish here. He's not going to have a lot of time, but he's probably definitely going to try his best, as well as the rest of the field trying to do the best that they can to get up and try to challenge for the lead. A couple drivers popping in the top 10 for the first time tonight. Mark Arthur in the 6th spot in the 32. Terrence Donovan in the 22. He moves up to 7th place. And Larry Mulligan dropping to 8th place as he came in 3rd. So a big shift in points there.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, Frank Busilia, for all the beating and banging that he's been involved in tonight, his truck looks fairly clean. Jimmy Jones sitting in 2nd, fairly clean. And then Hunter Bowles has got that rear end messed up. Brandon Chaburko, a little bit of damage there on the rear end. So not sure if that downforce issues will play into it. But I mean, Hunter Bowles has been involved in 3 wrecks. He had to throw something in there to try to take a big swing at it. I mean, he's sitting 3rd right now. He's not going to have the speed as everybody else, but I mean, if we see a couple quick cautions, I mean, after being involved in 3 incidents, I'm sure he'll be happy with, I mean, sitting in 3rd is great right now. He'll probably take a top 10 after the day that he's had so far.
Indeed he would. This time by the pace car should be getting the lights off now. They start doubling up, and indeed they do. Lights go out atop of the pace car. They are starting to double up. It's going to be a 9-lap shootout to figure out who is going to win this race here tonight at Michigan International Speedway. That duo of Frank Busialia III and Brandon Chaburko, definitely the strongest one out there tonight. But Busialia stayed out. He's got some wear on those tires. Jimmy Jones as well stayed out. The 18 machine stayed out as well, so those top 3 trucks staying out. The 18's got a lot of damage all over that machine, so it could be disastrous for him if he's not quite sure what's underneath of that truck right now. But it's going to get really, really exciting here very, very quickly.
Regardless of the way you look at it, we're going to come by to take 9 laps to go, and nobody said that's going to be 9 laps of green. The way these guys have been racing before the midway point is going to be pretty wild to see how these guys finish it out. And obviously Busialia and Chaburko, dominant pair of the night. Well, they're not sitting in front of each other, and they're not behind or side by side, so to see if they can get hooked back up and if that 17 can still drive as good as his partner will be interesting to see. But we're going to work our way now through turn 4. We're going to come to take the green flag.
9 laps of racing action to go here at Michigan. Frank Busialia III currently in the lead on old tires. Down into the pits goes the pace car, gonna get out of the way and let these bad boys battle it out for the victory here at Michigan. Pace car is off, green flag is out, we're racing again. Busialia gets to a great start, Hunter Bowles does as well. As he moves into second off the start, a bad restart for Jimmy Jones. He drops down to the inside line and is able to stick to 3rd. But Frank Busialia III able to pull away about 5 truck lanes from anybody else. Hunter Bowles goes way high in turns 1 and 2, and he's going to lose a bunch of positions.
Yeah, that truck has got nothing left. However, Chaburko really got the worst end of that because he got stuck behind Jimmy Jones, who had a terrible restart. And now he's going to be battling back on the top side, which means that they are side by side right now for about 3rd or 4th position. Or they're actually battling for 4th spot. So it is Busialia has opened up a lead, and they're side by side for 2nd. So it's going to be interesting to see how they work this thing out. I mean, will they be able to catch him if they're battling for 2nd place? I mean, you got 19 Chaburko on the top side. He'll work with Busialia. Jimmy Jones trying to make it work on the bottom, not quite. Rod Flag is now moving up into the top 3, and they're going to catch him. The question is, will Chaburko stay behind him, or is he going to want to go for that win too?
Knowing how Brendan Chaburko normally races, I will be very, very surprised if he just kind of sits there and lets Busialia win this race. Now, granted, he's probably not going to go too hard and try to wreck the duo and ruin a top 1-2 finish for those guys, but I know the passion inside of Brendan Chaburko, and he wants to win just as bad as the next guy. So it's going to get really, really interesting. And with Rod Flag isn't on the same team, but the same organization of teams as those 2 guys in front of him. So does Rod Flag work with these guys, or does he not really worry about them and try to go off on his own and worry about the North Division and try to get a win for them? As now down the back straightaway, he peeks to the inside into turn 3, and here comes the 28 as well. He gets a darting move and nearly gets underneath of the 23, almost makes contact. The 28 Matt Kingsbury, he is not leaving anything on the table, and he wants to go for it as well. 6 laps to go this time by. This is getting crazier by the minute.
He threw it into turn number 3. Now he's going to look to the high side. He's got his teammate with him. That's Jimmy Jones of the Last Lap Motorsports trucks. They are sitting right now in 4th and 5th. Now here comes the one, Larry Mulliken, and his teammate Tony Bowling. They're trying to get into the mix. It's still Busialia, followed by Chaburko. Rod Flag sitting in 3rd now. To the inside, Kingsbury battling for that 3rd spot. Again, the 1 to 3 now up in the mix, and it's going to be any one of these 8 trucks sitting up here could take this thing home as the laps continue to tick down. 5 laps to go. 5 to go this time by. If we see a yellow, it's probably going to end this race.
and with the way these guys are racing, it might happen. Hopefully not, because this is intense racing for the win here. Matt Kingsbury trying to sneak underneath of Brandon Traberco there. Can't quite do it. Traberco tucked right up underneath the spoiler of that 17 of Frank Bucialia III. He's probably trying to work with him for now to separate the two from the rest of the pack and try to deal with the win and just those two by themselves. Meanwhile, the 23 got around the 28, and now the 28 going to try to come back on the very bottom. We haven't seen anybody go that low tonight, and Matt Kingsbury trying it for the first time here tonight. He's going to try to make it work. Can't quite do it, though. He's going to look to the inside, falls back in line off of turn number 4 down the front stretch. 4 laps to go.
The 1 and the 3, 2 more teammates. Larry Mulligan trying to work with his crossed-up teammate Tony Bowling. They're trying to make something happen. Again, Rod Flagg sitting behind Traberco in 3rd place. Kingsbury's got a fast truck, and he's not afraid to show it, but he can't get something done without the help of his teammate. Now his teammate's been shuffled out of the way by Larry Mulligan on the top side. Laps continue to tick down. They're trying to be a little bit smart about it, but they're going to be beating and banging as the laps continue to tick down. Single file through the first 5 trucks. Then Jimmy Jones now is going to secure that 6th position. Single file through the top 8, but I don't think that's going to last long because they are all over each other's bumper. Kingsbury on the bumper of Flagg and Traberco on the bumper of Bucilia.
These drivers are taking advantage of the fact that this is a very, very wide racetrack. They're using every ounce of it to the outside now. Looks like Larry Mulligan is sideways, and he turns Kingsbury into the wall. Tow trucks upside down. Hard crash. The 28 of Matt Kingsbury, Larry Mulligan going upside down. Look out, a hard impact there for the flash. You know, I think he was able to make it through the 14, barely squeezes by. I cannot believe he made it through, getting around the 1 truck. A vicious crash on the back straightaway is going to end this race 2 laps prior to the original checkered flag.
And there was 2 incidents there. Rod Flagg sitting in 3rd place at turn 2, which we've seen pretty much every single incident occur there. Flag got loose, and I think that would have brought out the caution if we didn't see the contact behind them. But then behind them it was the number 1 Larry Mulligan working on the number 28 truck of Matt Kingsbury. 1 got loose and 28 got loose as well. They got together. Rod Flagg was in the wall in front of them. They both went for a wild ride. The 1 in the catch fence, 28 upside down in front of the field. And again, late race caution, that's going to end it, which means that Frank Bucilia is going to be the winner of the BobEarlRacing.com 160 at Michigan.
I am in shock of what we just saw. Tony Bowling, unfortunately, also had a very nasty piece of that incident. He got into the back of the 1 truck, which caused him to go upside down. So that was a very unfortunate circumstance there. I don't see how Matt Kingsbury was able to drive away after that thing landed on its wheels. But Frank Bucialia III and Brandon Traberco got their wish. A top 2 finish for both of those guys. A very impressive feat. They were the dominant drivers of the night, and they definitely showed it here as they pick up the victory in tonight's event.
Definitely, and as you mentioned, there was some teammates who received a Cup South sitting at the bottom of the points. They're definitely going to be proud of this finish to go back, and then Jimmy Jones 3rd. That's a good result for his team. Rod Flagg for the points leaders, highest finishing Super Speedway Cup North driver, and 4th Tony Bowling in Cross-Up Motorsports. His number 3 is going to finish 5th. Terrence Donovan, the 22, teammates with Rod Flagg, sitting 6th, so another solid night for Super Speedway Cup North. Then we have Larry Scott Jr. for Z-Loop finishing 7th. Sean Brown, and that number 2, is going to finish 8th for Crossed-Up Motorsports. Then we have the 28, Matt Kingsbury for Last Lap Motorsports in 9th place. And Joshua Harbison is going to round off the top 10, and his 16 for Z-Loop Racing. So very diverse once you get off those first 2.
Indeed, it is. It's a very interesting way to finish it out. Shook up the order quite a bit from what we've been seeing, and from how this race has gone. I am not surprised at all at the craziness that we saw throughout this event. And the dominant drivers definitely came out on top tonight, as Frank Bucialia and Brandon Traberco, they were able to close it off in just about a quarter of a lap. They're going to pick up the win here.
Definitely he's got to come by to make it official. 1 lap to go under caution. As long as that thing continues to roll, he'll be able to secure the victory, and then we'll be able to talk to them after they wrap this thing up.
As they hit the line, it is now official. Frank Busialia has won the ETV Live Team Series here at Michigan International Speedway, and his teammate Brendan Chaburko second, Jimmy Jones third, Rod Flagg fourth, and Tony Bowling rounding out the top 5. As those two teammates race around back to the front stretch to celebrate this win, we're going to step away here for a quick moment, get ready for post-race driver interviews here at Michigan International Speedway. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
If you're a serious online racing enthusiast, you need Derek Spear Design, maker of high-quality, custom-built, and 50-caliber strong simulation racing products like button boxes, shifter pedals, component parts, and more. The advantage a championship sim racing driver needs. Rated 10 out of 10 by Inside Sim Racing TV. Check out his line of top-shelf sim racing products reasonably priced at DerekSpearDesigns.com, and buckle in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy.
Back here at the Michigan International Speedway, the ETV Live Team Series, race number 6 of the season, just finishing up in a wild fashion. Frank Busialia III has picked up the victory here with teammate Brendan Chaburko, the dominant duo, winning tonight's event. We will talk to winner here very shortly, but right now we have caught up with our 4th place finisher, Rod Flagg here. Evan, I believe you're down there with him. Take it away.
And definitely the number 23, Rod Flagg. Well, you represented your team, who is sitting up atop the points. You're going to get a 4th place finish tonight after starting 11th. What a wicked race.
Yeah, we had a lot happen tonight. The car got spun, unfortunately, middle of the race, and you know, we're lucky that the way that the kind of things happened there, we didn't get much damage from that, and kind of got to keep somewhat of our position, because we got to go kind of get the car going again, but able to recover. Setup was stout. I mean, Brandon, this is Brandon's setup, Brandon Chaburko, and you know, he was working on this thing, and it was just stout. I mean, obviously he was running up front, and I think Frank and everybody was running the setup as well, so it was really good. You know, I think we probably had the faster car. I think Brandon and I were probably even. Would have been nice to finish it there, but just kind of got a little loose out of the turn. I think everybody was kind of in the same boat there too, and then we ended under caution. But you know, I can't complain.
Yes, definitely. I mean, you went from spinning, you mentioned there, in turn number 2 to getting a 4th place finish here tonight, and we saw almost a calamity corner there going on there off of turn number 2. Seemed like lots of drivers are having issues there, and then Chaburko and Busialia working together for the majority of the race there, 1-2. Is it really that important to really have someone to work with, or do you think you could have got it done on your own if this went green?
I mean, obviously they're on the South team, so we have communication with them. But it's we need to do what we need to do. And going into 1 and 2, I had a run on the outside, and I kind of had to take it because we had I think it was either the 25 or the 28 right behind us, and they're coming. So we couldn't be conservative there, and I understand that wanted to protect the lead for Frank or Brandon or whatever, but I needed to go there, but. Yeah, I mean, I think there was a little of that going on in front of me, but it is what it is. But again, the North team actually finished pretty well tonight, 4th and 6. I don't think Matt did as well, but that's okay, and we'll have Andrew back next week hopefully. So pretty good day. I think that'll help the points pretty well. But just gotta be happy with the top 5. That's always good.
Definitely your team's going to secure the points lead after tonight, and obviously a great 4th place finish for you guys. Now I do believe Kyle Young has caught up with our race winner, Frank Busilia.
Indeed I have, Evan. Frank Busilia III, with help from teammate Brandon Chaburko, makes it into victory lane tonight. Frank, you and Brandon were absolutely dominant tonight. The two of you led a total of 57 of the 80 laps scheduled for tonight's event. I mean, I don't know how to spell domination more than you two. Talk about your night.
Again, first off, we got a real solid setup under the truck here. I think 4 of us finished in the top 6. Couple of South guys and a couple of North guys, but yeah, Brendan and I, we managed to get up front. We started pretty close together, and just trying not to run each other over, gave each other some bonus laps, and just have some fun. It was a really fun race out there tonight.
We saw a lot of drafting and a lot of racing that revolved around having a partner. If you didn't have Brandon to work with tonight, do you think you would have still been able to make it to victory lane, or having that teammate was definitely a solid help to getting into victory lane?
Oh, well, it helped me, no doubt. I mean, I was hauling anyway, but with us working together and trying to keep each other up front, I mean, it made it a bit easier. I still would have gave them a run for their money no matter who was running up there. So I fell back a time or two, worked my way back up. So I had a stout setup, drove about perfectly no matter what part of the run, and I'm glad the Super Speedway Cup's represented tonight.
Not only you winning tonight's race, but your team took home the team win here tonight. The Super Speedway Cup South Rebel coming out on top. So congratulations for that as well. That has to be huge within both Super Speedway Cup teams. The South Rebel wins the race, and the North Union only by 5 points, but they're still the points lead. I mean, I don't see how much better it can get for you guys. I'm sure that's going to be a nice week at the shop this week, and I'm sure it's going to bring a lot of confidence into to next week as well.
No, it really helps. I mean, the North, we're trying to help them a bit, keep them up top. Us guys on the South team, we just had a dismal season. We've ran top 5, top 10 a bunch, and just got caught up in garbage and other people's junk. So it feels good to finally put out a finished product and being able to race our way at the front.
Frank Busilia III picking up the victory tonight. Frank, who do you got to thank?
Well, I'm Super Speedway Cup, Rod Flag, Brandon Chaburko, Terrence finished well, Hunter Bowles, all the guys on both North and South teams. You guys for broadcasting ETV, HD Radio Network. It's been a blast. This race was real fun. I'm glad we were a part of it.
Frank Busilia III representing the Super Speedway Cup South Rebel here tonight. Not only does he win the driver race, but the team also picks up tonight's win in a very exciting fashion. Evan, we saw a great race, lots of passing, lots of close calls, and a very, very dominant win here by Frank Busilia and Brendan Chaburko here tonight, helping that team go to victory lane.
Definitely, that's going to take their team up to 6th in points, 142 out, anything's possible as this is the halfway point of the season, but, I mean, what a wicked race. I mean, rightfully so, the right man's going to go to victory lane. Obviously, Chaburko helped them out a lot all night long. I mean, they were beating and banging off each other all night. I'm surprised that 17 truck still looks as good as it does, but, I mean, yeah, a wicked race all night long, and looking forward to more.
As am I. It has been a very, very entertaining season so far, and it's only going to get better as we continue on. Next week, a totally different type of racetrack. We head to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway for 150 laps of racing there. A very flat 1 mile oval. A lot different from what we saw tonight. People call it a Martinsville on steroids. It should be a very interesting and entertaining race to watch next week, and we hope you are there to watch it. That'll do it for us here at the ETV Live Team Series from Michigan. For John Wessling, Jerry Wolf, our series director, J.D. Webb, and Evan Posoko in the booth with me, my name is Kyle Young. Thank you for watching tonight, and we hope to see you next week at New Hampshire.